And on this midday, our other big story, the Supreme Court handing down 3 monumental decisions just hours ago. That includes a ruling upholding birthright citizenship, a constitutional right that all people born in the U.S. are automatically American citizens. It is a major blow to President Trump, who tried to limit that right for non-citizens as part of his larger immigration crackdown. Another key decision here, the Supreme Court is allowing state bans on transgender girls from playing on girls' sports teams. And finally, the justices are lifting limits on how much a political party can spend on candidates, opening up opportunities for an influx of cash in the upcoming midterms. So again, a lot happening here. These are landmark rulings. So much to discuss about the recent decisions. President Trump did respond to the Supreme Court ruling on birthright citizenship just in the past couple of hours. This is what he posted here on Truth Social. He said, quote, "The Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship, which is too bad for our country, but we can easily make it up in Congress through legislation with the support of the president that has now been determined during this process." Now, we want to go back to the landmark rulings from SCOTUS. A lot to discuss. We want to bring back attorney Jeff Lewis. And Jeff, we're going to go right back into talking about birthright citizenship. What was your takeaway when that ruling came down?
Well, the ruling wasn't a big surprise based on the questions and comments made by the justices at oral argument. But I will say this, the Supreme Court justices built a constitutional bulwark around this decision to make it very difficult to overturn today's decision by a mere act of Congress.
Okay, so does the ruling open the door at all for President Trump to try to do something in the future, or is this pretty much this is it?
This is the final word on this subject, absent a constitutional amendment, which is very hard to do under our form of government, or absent a major change in the composition of the Supreme Court.
All right, and of course, multiple decisions coming down today. Another big one here. We want to touch on the court upholding the ban on transgender athletes. How does this impact the various states? More than 20 states have some type of ban. How does that impact California?
It doesn't impact California at all. The court took great pains in footnote 1 to say that they were not expressing any opinion about whether states can permit trans athletes from participating in sports. So California, there will be no change.
All right, so California stays as it is. So we're talking about birthright citizenship. We have the transgender athletes. Really quickly, let's also talk about the Supreme Court striking down the limit on spending for political parties. Can you give us how this will play into the future?
Yeah, sure. You know, most campaign finance laws restrict contributions. Today's ruling concerned expenditures, spending, and it only relates to political parties acting in concert with parties and candidates. And so it's not going to have a huge impact on everyday Americans because of the narrow ruling today.
All right, got it. And we had 3 major rulings today. And really quick, because I want to say that probably one of the bigger ones that people have been looking for, we're going to circle back to birthright citizenship. And you know, you said it wasn't a surprise. Is it because of the oral arguments previous that we heard from SCOTUS?
The oral argument, the questions made by the justices, and the history, 125 years old decision saying that all you have to do is be born here to get citizenship, and the text of the constitutional amendment, all of those suggested that today's was not a surprise.
All right, SCOTUS making their decisions loud and clear. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us here on this midday. We really appreciate it.